We've all heard about tough times in the music industry, but there is a segment of the industry that has lots of potential for investors. Music publishing provides a steady stream of income every time a song is played on the radio or TV, in the theater, or in ads. And joining us now to discuss those investment opportunities is entertainment lawyer John Frankenheimer, the co-chairman of Loeb and Loeb. And the Hollywood Reporter has recognized you as one of the 100 most powerful lawyers in Hollywood. So why is this such a good investment? And so much interest from different aspects, and pension funds, hedge funds. Why the buzz?
Well, I think one of the most attractive things about music publishing is that if you're buying quality assets, you are able to predict steady income over a long period of time. You can create financial models that are akin to the best investments, and that kind of steady income, which also has additional potential for upside, is very attractive in an environment where most other investments are somewhat volatile.
Sir, you make a comparison that this is not unlike real estate. How?
Well, I think the underlying consideration has to be you really have to understand what it is you're acquiring. If you're acquiring property on Fifth Avenue or property in Malibu, you know, even though there might be some short-term dips, over the long run, you have a quality asset that will not only retain its value, but will increase in value. On the other hand, you may have a pool of assets, and the same is true for music publishing, and on the other hand, you may have a pool of assets that is undervalued because it hasn't been managed properly. And if you manage it properly and you streamline it and you add some additional elements to it, it may enhance in value by a significant margin. On the other hand, if you buy something at the top end of the market, in a frothy market, just like in real estate, if you do that in music publishing, you're likely to misstep, buy something that's overvalued, doesn't have a sustainable income stream, and you'll find yourself upside down on that investment. So there are great analogies.
And Mr. Frankenheimer, we're talking about some large numbers here. You were involved in the single largest transaction, BMG, for about $2 billion. Can you tell us a little bit about those transactions?
Well, that was one of the deals that we were involved in. We were counsel to Bertelsmann when they sold BMG Music Publishing. It was then, I believe, the fourth largest publisher in the world. It was sold a couple of years ago, reported, it was a private transaction, but widely reported in the news as north of $2 billion. What's interesting about that is that BMG Music had really been out of the publishing business a couple decades ago, went back in about 20 years ago, brought in top-flight management, a gentleman named Nick Firth leading that. And over the course of about 19 years, they did well in excess of 200 acquisitions, a classic roll-up, large companies and small companies, and on an international basis. Not just U.S., not just U.K., but throughout Europe, South America, everywhere, actually. And at the end of the day, achieved a tremendous financial result for the owner. It underscores another element why music publishing is potentially a great investment, and that is the underlying diversification that you can achieve. It's not just a particular artist group of songs or songs from a particular era or a particular genre,
right,
or even restrained by a regional aspect. It's something that can play across border, cross genre, cross age groups, and the sustainability and the diversification are what really make it such an attractive investment.
And Mr. Frankenheimer, how has technology changed the playing field here and how people actually listen to music?
A good question, and it's a complex question because there are good and bad elements to it. I mean, obviously, the onslaught of digital and the internet has undermined the record side of the business, at least as we've known it over the last 50 years. So CD sales are in sharp decline. Physical sales are in sharp decline. And publishers who were perhaps more reliant on album sales, where they had one or two hits on an album and then the rest was perhaps not of the same quality, but they got paid the same on publishing, at least on the sale element of it, not the radio airplay element of it. Those income streams are shrinking.
Right.
However, on the music publishing side, what's happened is the hits are actually selling in numbers far greater because the consumer is able to pick those songs and those records that they really like. And so where you couldn't sell 500,000 singles 10 years ago, now you can sell 5 million singles 5 million downloads of a particular hit song, plus you have all of these other avenues to generate revenue, streaming, downloads, all sorts of elements, ringtones, ringbacks, all of those things generate revenue.
And Mr. Frankenheimer, we're going to have to leave it there, but hopefully we can have you back. Entertainment attorney John Frankenheimer joining us from Los Angeles.